because it's like I tell people, it seemed like everybody liked little Irvan. And I used to say, you know, I wasn't a bad guy, I was a good guy, but man, I did a lot of evil things, and I was very devilish. I think Bubba used that word. Anyway, my name's Irvan McCurry. My wife Rose there. I grew up in Holly Hill, South Carolina. I had a very wonderful childhood, which I hope most everybody did. You know, children, everything's relative to them. What they got's what they got. So, but anyway, grew up. My granddad was a big farmer, and he told Dad to get back and help him. So we came to Holly Hill, and I was raised hunting, fishing, and in the summertime we went to the pool. The wintertime we hunted and we fished, and we went to school. And you know, just a normal childhood. But I love my granddaddy. I was the third child, and granddaddy I was the learner. He was bigger, so he had no sons. So he took me under his wing, and as a matter of fact, hunted a lot with Ty's daddy, Sammy Pritchett, at the Shingle Hunt Club, and with Dee's daddy, Ira Abner. And I remember meeting Dee a long time ago at either Shingle Hunt Club, Pine Tree, or Fairlawn. I can't remember, but one of those places. And later on, we started doing some things together. But you know, Granddaddy was my idol, and he'd take a nip every now and then. And I remember he used to get me to boy, what kids see, it has a big effect on them. He would get me to. He'd say, "Little Irvan, get that bottle of stuff out the bottom of that counter and pour some in that glass." And boy, I'd get it and do it, and he'd put me a little water in there. Evan Williams. And you know, that thing smelled funny. But he was my idol, and I tell you, if he was doing it, that must be some good stuff. Grandmama didn't do it, but anyway, so I took a sip of that when I was real young. And that didn't fit too well, but anyway, little things like that. I think I started my own path down to destruction. Me and my brother were mad at Mom one day, so we stole one of her cigarettes and went and climbed a tree and smoked a cigarette. And about fell out the tree. But you know, we just devilish things. And but we were watching what grown-ups were doing. And hunting with Granddaddy and his group, it seemed like we always wanted to be around, and Deacon probably tells us, we wanted to be around older people. So, and do older things, quick. We want to grow up quick. But beside that, growing up, I had a great childhood. You know, we did the camping, beach, and the pool, and played golf, and you know, we ran through the back alleys in Holly Hill. We'd run through all the stores. We were urban range kids. You know, we just thought we had the world by the tail. And let's see, Sand Dollar Campground. We loved to go to Sand Dollar Campground. But I also started driving when I was about 6 years old. Granddaddy and most farmers' kids, man, they start driving early. And we had dirt roads everywhere back then. So driving was nothing to us. I mean, that's just a part of life. And that'll have a big part of this story. But you can guess what's coming next. But anyway, so like I said, in the winter we hunted and we fished, and you know, we just had a good time. In my teens, I started, you know, we had our gang. We would just ride bicycles and do devilish stuff that the kids would do, shoot fireworks, ring doorbells at night and run, you know, things like that. So really normal. But you know, someone would go out of town, parents would go out of town, and we'd have refrigerators on the outside with beer in them, and so we'd start popping beer and drinking beer and hanging out, and probably a lot like everybody else did. It was doing questionable things back then. But you know, I always looked at first Hebrews 1, and this always kind of stuck with me, and I always wondered, because as you're going to find out, I know the Bible's true. And it says, and they're talking about angels here, and 1:14 says, "Are they not all ministering spirits, set forth to minister to them who shall be heirs of salvation?" So that always got me thinking. Now, if we got, this is talking about ministering spirits, which are angels, sent forth to help those who will obtain salvation. Does that mean we have an angel around us? Well, that's what it sounds like to me. We have those who are, Jesus said, all their mind will come to me. Right? It sounds like me. And Isaiah said, hell hath enlarged itself, because people are dying, just going into hell. So it sounds like me, all of them are Christ, or all of them are coming to him, but the ones that are, we got angels around us. So we can't see those angels. We can't see demons unless God lets us. But can the demons see those angels? And if they can, are they trying to beat up on us the whole time? Because they know they know something's different about us? Are we being attacked our entire life? Those of us who have ministering angels hanging around us, making sure nothing happens to us that can't be reversed? You know, it's something I thought about that a long time ago. But anyway, teen years, JV football, basketball. You know, I was doing the farming thing. When you're a farmer's son, you can start doing things a little early. You can start working legally earlier, because we worked before that. And you can actually drive trucks earlier than most people with your driver's license. We did a lot of camping. We camped in Maine. We camped in California. So Mom and Dad really tried to do the best they could with us and give us a wholesome American, whatever you want to call it, atmosphere. But you know, it just wasn't good enough for me. You know, I said Mom and Dad had 3 wonderful kids, and they had me. And those 3 didn't wander off the path too much, but little Irvan was different. I mean, even when I was little, I had my stomach pumped twice. Once I took a handful of my granddaddy's blood pressure pills. I must have felt something coming on or something. But anyway, and then I also drank much kerosene. So, why? I don't know. You know, but they told me I was just, and Mom said Irvan was always the most affectionate, you know. I wish Daddy would have shot me in the foot a long time ago to slow me down. But, you know, and then we got a driver's license. We got a driver's license early. And then girls came into the picture. You know, girls, drinking. The drinking kept on. We would work in the summertime at our packing house with Peaches. We had a bunch of people. You either worked for my dad at the packing house or for Rocks Pond campground. That's the 2 choices. So then we had money during the summer. So on the weekends, big bull. What was it? What's that? The bull. Malt liquor bull and a straw. We would drink right around, drinking Slip's malt liquor bull, and all, you know, with older teenagers. And that's what we did. And up and down, we go to St. George, ride the strip over there. And you know, and it's amazing. We smoked cigarettes and played our hearts out on the football field, the basketball field. My headmaster caught me one time smoking cigarettes, and he said, "How do you run so fast?" Because he smoked cigarettes. But anyway, you know, we are wanting to be with the older people. You know, back then we would sneak into bars and all, and people would what you doing? What's going on? You know, I smoked my first marijuana cigarette, one joint, whatever you want to call it, at a basketball game. I think before I had my driver's license, and that pretty much started me on the path of smoking marijuana. And I smoked marijuana when I was probably 14, 15, and that when you smoke marijuana, you just place yourself into another group of people, you know, and that group of people spills over. And I was like the last of the hippie age. This was back in the, you know, I was born in '62, so this was in the '70s. And when you just cross the line, now you're doing drugs and smoking marijuana. And some of the people they've already crossed another line. And we were actually doing black beauties before football games in 11th grade. Now I didn't do a lot of that. I had some buddies did black beauties and yellow jackets. You know, a lot of yeah. But anyway, I didn't do a lot of that because I was still with the weed was good for me, and I smoked cigarettes and drinking beer. But even that, pretty soon we'd go to parties and quaaludes. were a big thing back then. Quaaludes were introduced to me, and that's a downer. I mean, you just, boy, it's just the La La Land. And, you know, I'm imagining all these, you know, can you imagine the evil spirits that were just having I was like a playground, I imagine. I don't know, and I went to church. Mom and Dad drug me to church all our life. We went to a Methodist church, and I cannot remember in that Methodist church one person being saved or there ever being any joy about it. None. We just went, and then we played golf afterwards. But I do not remember, and I love the people at that church. I pray for them. My mom and dad go to that church, but I can't remember a testimony. You know, but still, they did read the Word. It's not the, I don't blame them. They were reading the Word. I was at Bible school. I did all these things, but I just missed it. And really, more than likely, we're born in sin and shaped in iniquity. And I was just, nah. That's you a Christian? Yeah. You want to talk about Jesus? No. You know, that's not a Christian. And you lying to yourself. That's a fake Christian. You know, I'm a Christian because I go to church. You know, I'm a car because I'm in a garage. It doesn't work. But anyway, so the Quaaludes started. I was hanging out with old people. I mean, we did a lot of Quaaludes, and then something called, you all probably hadn't heard of some of these things, the Placidules. You know, well, some of you old people, yeah, I started with Placidules, which is a prescription drug that our buddies, older buddies, were going to get. And they go, we're having a party. And kilos of cocaine from Charleston. I mean, we had parties that lasted days. And of course, and then this was in my high school, you know, junior and senior years. And acid, you know, we did everything we could get our hands on. Valiums, you know, it's just, and once you cross that marijuana line, and you're smoking, and pretty soon some of your friends doing it, and then you cross another line, and then it's what's amazing with me is I never did shoot up. I cannot believe it. I just don't know why. I just never crossed that line. There was nothing good about me, I can tell you that. In my high school year, senior year, I totaled my first car. I wasn't high, I wasn't drinking. I found some friends, they had the stuff, I was going back to meet them, and I wrecked on a dirt road going to party. That's something, so that was my first car I wrecked. By when all this is through, I would have totaled 6 cars and wrecked 11. So anyway, I didn't graduate high school. I flunked French by 1 point, and I hated my French teacher, and she hated me. And she would not give me that 1 point. So I said, well, I don't care. You know, I really didn't care about school anyway. The only reason I went to school was because of girls, football, and basketball. So I got my GED and went on about my business. I worked on Dad's farm, which was right down the road here. We had a little less than 2,000 acres of peaches, and we packed peaches, and I ran the farm. And after I did that for a year and worked, I said, I'd like to go to college, please. I got a taste of hard work then, because that farming, you know, that's work. So anyway, I went to college, met some guys. I was growing dope by then, so I took a boatload of dope up to school, and I passed my first semester, and I celebrated my second semester. So I flunked. So Anderson College said, "How about take a year off and reflect on what you want, Mr. McCurry? See you later." So anyway, I came back home, and that's when I started. I ran Dad's farm, and I did what I had to do. It was a lot of work. You know, the pruning, the peaches. We had hundreds of thousands of peach trees that we had to prune and fertilize and thin when they came on, and we had a spray program, and then we had picking crews. So I had sometimes I had 200 people working for me. And then we started employed Latinos, which was a great amount of fun for me, because those people, I just loved working with those people. But anyway, but I was still doing the same thing. I mean, if 5 o'clock comes, we were partying and drinking and drugging. And like I said, I look back when I started to write this stuff down, and I was so ashamed of my life. You know, people People say, oh, don't be ashamed of your life, that your past made you what you are. No, no. My past almost killed me. Jesus Christ changed me. Amen. That's the reality of it. My past almost put me in the grave, which would have been hell at that time. So anyway, thought I had the world on a tail. You know, we had the Peaches were on Lake Mary, right on the lake at lunchtime. We could, all right, y'all go get something to eat. We'd go swim, get high, you know, just do whatever we want to. I'd employ my friends in the summertime as my workers to oversee the cruise. So I had all my friends were out there. We were partying, having a good time, and I'm, you know, barely getting by. Daddy should have fired me a long, you know, many years before all that happened. But anyway, but believe it or not, my secretary walks in one day, and she said, just like this, we all grew up together. She was married, Becky was married to Mars. She said, Mars taking flying lessons. I said, what? So anyway, I started flying. Isn't that a good mixture? You know, all those drugs and drinking, now I'm going to fly. Because that was not, all those drugs and drinking were not filling the hole in my heart. And I was chasing everything. In other words, something was wrong with Irvan, and it was like, it was so much pain I was trying to drown out, or, you know, when you look back, you got to think, why were you doing these things? Because, you know, I'm happy when I was sober, I was happy, but I didn't want to be sober. It was like reality. I didn't want reality. So I ran from reality. So I started flying airplanes, and, you know, as a matter of fact, one time after I flew an airplane, I wasn't high, I wasn't drinking. I ran into a car because she stopped quickly, and the sun, it just rained, the sun was in my eyes or something, so I put on brakes, ran in the back of the car, and I had a big old bag of dope on me. And I'm so glad they didn't catch me then. But that was another car, total truck, company truck. And most of the cars I totaled were Dad's. But anyway, so I started flying, and I enjoyed it a whole lot. And the Peaches, we didn't have we had 10 years of catastrophes. Dad, someone burned our packing house down. My dad's partner was a drunk and told the bookkeeper, don't get insurance on the packing house this year because we're getting ready to build another one. So we lost the packing house. Dad found out the day after the fire there was no insurance, and we had like 6 bad years in a row. Too much rain, too little rain. The cold had just wiped out Peaches. There weren't enough chilling hours to make Peaches. So we had just a really tough time. And that's when, to me, it was like writing on the wall. And I was starting to get tired of farming and just couldn't see that if I had been a devoted, good, born-again son and had really worked, just like you know, there's no telling what can happen in that area, but that wasn't God's plan. That's all right. You know, that's okay. So I said, Dad, I'd like to try flying for a living. He's probably going, you moron! But anyway, so I go to flight school in Southeastern Flight Academy and take a load of dope with me. And you know, on good days we flew, on bad days we drank. That's what we did. We were students, we were in flight school, and everybody was on the same page. You know, we party when we're not flying, and when we're, you know, good days we fly. So we did that, and oh, I forgot to tell you, back in '87, I got my first DUI. I know some of y'all are probably waiting on that. And I was coming back from a party, straight through Santee, boom, I got a DUI in 1987. Or some 1985, 87, something like that. But anyway, so I go to flight school in Macon, Georgia, and we're having a good time. We're flying. I paid for it in cash, paid for it with my own money, and because Dad would give me, he had a field set aside for me, and that would be my bonus field. So I finally made enough money and did that, and I didn't go until my grandmother died, my Irvan's wife, Carol. I would not leave Carol. She was my best ally. When she passed away, that's when I went. So we partied and drank, and pretty soon, of course, I was coming out of a club, and it was a one-way street, and it was the first time I've been in that club, and I was drinking. But I wasn't that drunk, but I got another DUI. So darn. Somebody told me a DUI is like getting pregnant. You know, it don't always happen. It's not. everybody does it very easily, so you get 2 DUIs, you might have a problem. No. But anyway, so I kept on flying, got out of that one, went to my classes, did all that stuff. And about the end of my 2 years at flight school, I got another DUI because I continued to drink. And finally, when I finished flight school, that was 3 DUIs. And I was a commercial pilot. So I finished flight school and had to call my mom and dad, please come get me and drive. I wanted to drive the car back. So I did that, and I came back and I started selling pagers. Started selling network pagers. But finally, I was instructing flying. I started instructing flying in Orangeburg, and Supersod, Jim Rockmore, who's a friend of mine, he was in my first wedding. He said, I need a pilot, we'll get a plane, so I started flying for him. And my first corporate job. And I flew for Jim for about 3 years. He got a twin engine, and I was flying for him. But you know, and I will mention this, I smoked so much dope. One of my ex-girlfriends, moms, walked up to me in Piggly Wiggly one day and said, I know what you're doing. I know you carry pot in your sock. I said, I do not. I had a big old bag of dope in my sock. So I smoked so much dope back before I went to flight school. I was sick of it. I mean, I was sick of my eyes being red. I couldn't be around the ones I loved the most. And who loved me the most? Mom and Dad. I couldn't look at them. I couldn't look at them. When I came to know the Lord, when I was crying one time, and I'll tell you that, but I remember my dad looking at me with that old look, and then he quit. It broke. I'd been crying so much, and he looked at me like, oh, I remember that look. That was like he knew I was high. But then his face broke because he knew I wasn't. But anyway, so I came back home, started flying for Jim, and had no longer smoking dope. I figured I'd go with cocaine. So no more marijuana, but I was doing, you know, it's like the businessman's high. You know, I had the world by the tail. I was proud, and you know, I was a pilot. I don't mess with pot anymore. I smoke coke, and that's what I did. And that finally came to a screeching halt. One day we had a flight. The next day I was going to pick up his mom and I think bring her back. So the day off, me and a buddy of mine, I'd also had a 30-foot rival runner, twin 250s on it down at Charleston Harbor, and I was getting ready to take some people off shore fishing on that. So some friends of mine were going, as a matter of fact. So we went down there and we were going to hit balloting. But anyway, we decided before we did that, we were going to go bar hopping and get a couple of drinks. I went back to his house and my neck hurt. And he said, take a couple of these. And I popped them in my mouth. And what I found out later was they were we call them Amtrak's, Xanax. They were Xanax. I took 2 Xanax. And I left Charleston that day. And I don't remember, I remember thinking I didn't want to be on the interstate, turning on maybe Ladson Road, coming down 176, and they said I was doing over 80 miles an hour when I hit the back of a car. Hit the back of a car. And that car was not going. That car was turning into her own driveway. And I was airlifted to NUSC, and all my family and friends were in the hospital with me. And my wife, I'd gotten married, and we were just a train wreck waiting to happen. You know, a lot of this happens. The girls party with you. Boy, when you get married, mother time, they quit. They stop, and you go, what happened? But I was still partying, so we fought like cats and dogs. Well, she was there, Mom and Dad were there, and that's when my sister told me. I finally woke up, and my sister said, Irvan, you killed someone. And that's when all I could say, the first thing that came out of my mouth was, just shoot me. Just shoot me. So anyway, That's when I learned that I took a life. And the next day, everybody was in the middle. That was Friday. So everybody had to work. I went home, and my mom and my sister-in-law, when they let me, my chest was hurt really, really bad because of the impact, airbag and impact. Yeah, the impact. But really, I have a scar right here, which was kind of mutilated, just beat up, and I think something may be right up here, which is amazing. But I went home. Mom and my sister-in-law took me home, and it was like a dream world. I could not believe it, because I always loved people, and then I never realized how many I hurt. But I love people. I still do. I still love to talk and chat and meet new people. But I went home, and all I could do was, and I mean all I could do was pray and cry and read the Bible. That's all I could do. Because all my life, all these DUIs. Oh, and by the way, I got another DUI when I was married. So there's 4 DUIs, and the 5th one was a felony DUI. But all I could do was cry and pray and read the Bible. So that's what I did. I had what felt like a freight train on my chest. I was so convicted. I couldn't go outside and look around without it seeming like there were people behind the trees just peeking out going, there's the monster right there. There's the killer. He did it. It was just so intense. It was as if God parted the clouds and looked straight at me. And there was nothing covering my sin. I mean nothing. And you talking about a bad feeling? Jesus said, all of mine are going to come to me. He didn't say they're going to like it, but they're coming. You know, you can do what you want to do. But let me tell you something. I came the hard way. So anyway, I cried, prayed, read the Bible. 3 days after that happened, I'll never forget, I was reading Jeremiah 29:11. Now, for another thoughts I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace, not of evil, you can expect it in. Well, look, the weight of that freight train would come off my chest, just to come tell me right down. Why? Because that's the old law. The old law doesn't say anything about it. But anyway, that's what happened. And I would feel it lift off, and then I'd go and just start crying again. I heard something behind me. I heard, Irvan, you must find Jesus. And I looked around. Wasn't anybody home. Mom and Dad were at work. And I looked around. I don't know where he is. So I went to the New Testament, started reading in Matthew. And I started reading. And the words started jumping off the page, especially the ones I remember. I mean, this is 22 years ago. This is feed my sheep. Feed my sheep. What he told Peter. You know, do you love me? Feed my sheep. But I remember just the words came alive to me. So I finished the New Testament. And I said, well, I didn't know what to do then, so I started reading it again. So I went back to Matthew and started reading it again. And all this time, every day, crying, praying, reading the Bible. I'm walking outside and saying, all right, hadn't heard much from the wife. I moved back to Mom and Dad's house after the hospital. I was there. She wasn't coming over. So I said, I didn't know what was happening or what to do, but I was still lost, still hurting, but I was still reading the Bible. But I was thinking, I tell you what, and I was having a lot of help with this thinking. My buddy, our family used to own a funeral home, Saul's Rain Funeral Home. And we sold our friend who was our bookkeeper, who told Daddy about the insurance and fire and all that stuff. But anyway, he said, I tell you what, I called Buddy Adams, and I'll tell Buddy, I'll leave him a message and tell him, please come pick up my body, and I'll do it right here. Here's the couch, I don't want to show. Amy's going to want that couch. She won't mess up the TV right there by the wall. And I got 45. All right, yeah, that's what I'll do. That'll work. And because I just can't put my family through this anymore. So I'd all planned out the clock, and I was going to clock out. And I was out in the yard, just walking around crying, praying, talking to the Lord, just crying, weeping. And my dad walked up to me and he said, son, we got a lot of guns. And they hit all, matter of fact, they took all the guns out of the house. So they had like 45 or 50 guns out of the house. He said, son, I know what you're thinking. I could handle it, but it'd kill your mama. And when he said that, God put those words in his mouth, because I could not hurt my mama, and I didn't realize I would be hurting others. You think, listen, Satan wants you to believe, listen, take yourself out, it's done, it's finished. Oh my gosh, it's just beginning. The pain you're going to cause doing that, and I mean, I know people who've done that, and friends and family that have had that happen, and I'm going, I almost did that. And when he said it'd kill your mama, boy, he knew what to say. Because, I mean, immediately, that was it. That was it. And he walked off. So anyway, the accident happened on June the 12th, 1997. On June the 24th, I had Bibles all around me. I mean, I was reading. On June the 24th, there was a Gideon's Bible. In the back of the Gideon's Bible is Romans Road. And I looked at that, and I started reading. For all of sin come short of the glory of God. For all who call upon the name of the Lord Jesus shall be saved. For if you believe in your heart and say with your mouth, Jesus is Lord, that's what we say. Here's a prayer over here. Lord Jesus, I believe you died on the cross for my sins. I believe you raised the dead. I believe you justify me. I believe. In your name, Lord Jesus. And I signed it. And that's when I said yes. You know, I said yes to God. Yeah. Because, you know, I was talking to Rose earlier, you know, why is it that you have to say Jesus is Lord, or Jesus be my Lord? Because, well, obviously we have another Lord before we had Jesus. You know, and Satan's called the God of this world. And it's we're either if we're not following Christ, we follow him whether we know it or not. You know, I wrote this down. You know, you got Lucifer, Satan, pride, it's sin, it's all I. And you know, you have to crucify pride, which is crucify yourself. You know, and that's it's all about, you know, even when you're a baby, when a baby cries, well, food, me. Well, you have to surrender and say, Jesus, Lord, you. But so anyway, I said this in a prayer, nothing happened. And 4 days later, Mom and Dad, people were coming over to the house. And Mom, well, you know, Holly Hill's a small community, and you know how that goes. So people were coming over, visiting Mom and Dad, and I was going, how in the world would these people want to come and see this? I'm a monster. Why would anybody want to see me? You know, I hate myself. Why would anybody else? You know, and I really didn't want to see. You can imagine how I felt. I was pretty darn ashamed. I wasn't ashamed. I was absolutely broken. I mean, crushed, broken, you know, suicide. But thank God for Daddy that he said that. So anyway, I'm sitting 3 days, I think it's 3 days later. Mom and Dad went out to eat at Sweatman's. And they said, come on, let's go eat Sweatman's. That's like a family reunion for us around here. You don't go to Sweatman's if you got something bothering. But anyway, no. So anyway, we'll bring you back something. All right, yeah, y'all go ahead. So I'm sitting in Dad's chair, watching, and I wanted nothing but to work. Listen, Mom and Dad have gotten me out of trouble all my life. You know, the president couldn't help me with this one. I mean, nobody could help me. So all I wanted was the Word of God. And so I had Trinity Broadcast Station on, which, you know, it's a start. So I was watching Trinity broadcast and listening to them sing and all, and I was sitting down, and all of a sudden, something started happening. And I stood up, and somebody, when I must have given my testimony before, they said, "I made the sign of the cross." I went like this. What is happening? And I felt things hanging on to me with everything they had, not wanting to leave, but they were being pulled out. I could feel them. I could feel them just one, two. I mean, from the other side. They didn't want to leave. You couldn't see them, but they had my backbone, and they were coming. They were coming, and they had to go. They had to go because somebody was coming in there, and he wasn't going to stand for that. So anyway, once, and you know, I always say this: 5 or 7, I don't know. The spirit of adultery, the spirit of lying, the spirit of drugs, the spirit of alcohol, you name it. I mean, they was in there. And brother, sister, all of a sudden, when that last one got out, the peace of Jesus just dumped into me, and I started screaming, "It's true, it's true!" Because Jesus said, "I'll send a comforter. He will I'm not going to leave you alone. I'll send a comforter. He's going to testify of me." So as soon as I received the Holy Spirit, I knew Jesus was real, because that's the job of the Holy Spirit. It's proof I'm saved, and it's proof you're saved. When you receive the Holy Spirit, you have to be changed. Unless a man be born again, cannot see the kingdom of God. So I started jumping around, and I did about 3 circles, and like this goes, and then I stopped. Because I realized hell was true. I realized His Word was true. And I realized I had, you know, just both feet in hell, just ready to be dropped down. I mean, I was saved. I could not believe. And this is funny. I called a preacher. He wasn't there. Called a Baptist preacher. He wouldn't. I called a sinner. He was there. Dan, it's true, Dan. I called Dan a minute. Dan, it's true, it's true, it's true. He goes, "What are you talking about?" But Jesus. Well, you know, Dan's doing all right now. He's going to church. But anyway, I'm sure he was freaking out. So anyway, now I know it's true. And still, believe it or not, and you can see this, I would have so much joy at times. By the way, I was reading the Bible, cussing went, drinking went, drugging went, but I still smoked cigarettes. But it didn't matter. I mean, God said, you know, that ain't gonna, you smell like you've been in hell, but you don't want to sit in hell. But you know, I'm sitting here going, I mean, literally, just reading the Bible, smoking cigarettes. And I would have so much joy, I could not contain myself. I would roll around in the grass by myself. Just heaven's going to be good, guys. I mean, heaven's going to be good. Because, I mean, and this was, nobody was around. Nobody saw me. It wasn't a public display of rolling around in the church. Everybody rolling, you know, which I'm not going to talk about that, but it's, you know, God is God. I know that. So, but anyway, and started speaking in tongues. See, I don't curse anymore. I don't talk about drugs anymore. I don't talk about drinking anymore. I talk about Jesus. That's a new tongue. My new tongue is talking about Jesus, and Jesus loves y'all and loves me and came to die for us. That's a new tongue. You know, that's my new tongue anyway. So anyway, I do speak a little Spanish, so that's a different tongue. So you know, I was having such a wonderful time with the Lord, and then I would absolutely break down and cry because I took a life. You know, how many? What did it take? Three lives, three deaths for me to come to Christ. Didn't have to. One I'm not going to talk about. The lady in the car and Christ on the cross. That's pretty sad. But praise God, He loved me. You know, He takes the foolish things of the world. You know, you walk into around a bunch of businessmen, bankers, whatever, and Dad's in there too. But if we walk around in the wrong crowd, they won't understand what you're talking about. Because God uses people like the common people hurt Him gladly. What do you mean? This guy's a preacher, a drug addict, alcoholic, ex, and man, he is blessed and talking, and God's blessing him, and people are listening to him, but you know, it's foolishness to them. They think you're a fool. They think you're an idiot for believing that. What does a Jew on a cross have to do with anything? Well, he was God in the flesh. That's what he has to do with it. He came to save us, whether you believe it or not. So anyway, I'm crying. I'm still crying, praying, and reading the Bible. Although I have moments of sheer joy, I have moments of terror because there's a trial coming up. You know, don't forget about that. So anyway, and I wasn't about to let it go to trial. I mean, not after. I mean, the point came where I am so guilty. It finally just done over. You know, but I was told in a dream I was going to get 14 years. And sure enough, the family came back and said, 14 years. Well, first we wanted for murder, 25 years. Well, they're not going to give him that. He didn't need to do it. Okay, all right. Well, they'll probably give him, you know, this is the counsel talk to themselves. 14 years. I said, you know what? I'm guilty. Let's go. 14 years. Yeah, that's right. And then I remember where I was writing things down. And I should have brought my notebook. I got a notebook and all kinds of stuff. But I got 14 years. But before I went to prison, I was praising the Lord, telling people that people had no idea how to take me. Because I was going, well, what God say to you today? You know, did he talk to you? Because one night I prayed, I said, Lord, if you won't bring her back, which I knew, that would take a miracle. I said, please let her be with you. And I went to bed, and that's probably the only prayer that I knew landed at his feet. And I knew it in my heart after I prayed. And I went to bed. Next morning, I woke up, I went downstairs, and I laid on the couch. And he woke me up after he said while I was sleeping, Irvan, you don't have to pray that anymore. She's with me. Now you must bring those to me. And I woke up. And I called a friend of mine who knew the lady and said, Ray Beth Sheila, was she saved? I said, oh yeah. I said, I know God told me in a dream. So, I mean, so that's wow. Whether or not, that's a big comfort to me. Yeah, a big comfort to me. So the devil lost two people, her and me. So we, I start singing in church and doing all this stuff, and one girl is begging me to go to Hebron, and I'm going, listen, I would love to, but this kind of, they ain't gonna let me. The people who want to kill me now. So I won't be able to go to Hebron. But I was born again already. And so the court date came, and I pled guilty. And the woman, her daughter, said, I just want you to know, I forgive Mr. McCurry. Because my mama told me to in a dream. Wow. That was really cool. So I went to Berkeley County, happened in Berkeley County. So I was in jail there, and had some great times there. Did some communion with guys. I was trying to, I just know I wanted God, and so God blessed me there. Then I had to go to Orangeburg County because the DUI I got for my wife, my bosses, they were going to take care of it. That was sitting there, and it would have gone away. But as soon as this happened, they saw it and went, ha-ha! He's got another one. The plaintiffs. So anyway, so I had to go to Orangeburg County and say I've got another DUI. So I pled guilty to that. And then I went from there to R&E, which R&E was total lockdown, 2 bunks, 2 on the floor, but it was still a blessing. I mean, we sing him, God bless me so much in prison. I never had a bad day. Wow. And, I left R&E and I went to Evans, and Evans is close to Myrtle Beach or somewhere down that area. Stayed there for a week. The warden had said, bring McCurry in. So I go in there. Of course, I'm looking at the warden, and he goes, you recognize me? No, sir. Of course, I knew him. We used to drink together, right? And Fat Buddies and Michael Westbury's buddy, Robert Ward. And I said, no, sir. I didn't know what he wanted me to say. But anyway, so He said, all right, well, tell him to scoot. So he had his chief man in there and said, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Be careful with this, don't trust anybody. I said, all right, thank you. A week later, I was transferred to Kershaw. Kershaw. I worked on the greenhouse. I was not on the choir, but what we had in prison, you have churches come in all the time, almost 7 days a week. And you can go in and hear somebody's brothers and sisters that know, they believe, hey, when you come into prison, you come to see me. So they're going in there to see Jesus. And it's like just like reading Revelation. Hey, blessed, you're going to get a blessing. You read Revelation, so there's going to be a blessing. That's what the word says. So you go in prison to see Jesus, they're doing their job. They're coming in. We got a bunch of them. I went from there. Mom and Dad talked to some people and got me to Lieber. And at Lieber, I was the only one there who was allowed to get a guitar. I had a guitar. No, the only one there who was allowed to practice the guitar, because the assistant warden, he didn't like it too much, but the pastor, he said, I don't care if you like it or not. He'd write me a pass to come up and practice the guitar. When I went to Lieber, I stayed there for a year. Then I went to McDougal, where I stayed 6 years. And McDougal was an open place, so I started playing the guitar there, and I became the head of the music department there. I witnessed God just blessed me. I was there to work release and in Charleston, and I got out in 2009. I did not do much for a year. A buddy of mine, Rocky, I did have some speaking engagements. A buddy of mine, Rocky Bell on Piggly Wiggly, he said, get off the couch, come on down here, work with us. So I started working, and I found out, when I was in prison, I wrote the FAA, and I told him, I said, oh no, I told him, I thought to myself, I hadn't told the FAA about my DUI. Matter of fact, I never thought I'd fly again. Never in a million years. I just forgot it. I mean, you can forget it. 4 DUIs and 1 felony DUI, 12 years in prison. So I said, well, you know what? I left God out of this equation. I said, Lord, what do I do? I didn't hear anything, so I'm going to write it. So, dear, to whom it may concern, on this date I did this, and this is what I got, this is where I am. If God wants me to fly, I'll fly. If not, I'll sit on the front porch and pick my guitar and tell people about Jesus. Have a nice day. Irvan McCurry. So I sent that in. And this is what you know exactly what it was. The next couple of days, I was watching TV, and Twin Towers came down. So I said, I'll never fly now. I know it ain't going to happen. So I forgot about that. Well, the next week, a letter came in and said, Mr. McCurry, you've broken this FAR, this FAR, this FAR, about 5 FAR. They said, if you want to fight this, hire a counselor. Otherwise, send your license to us. I said, Mama, send a license to the FAA. So I was suspended for 210 days. 210 days. 210 days exactly. Mom had my license back in the house. I got out in 2009, started working with Rocky Piggly Wiggly, started asking about my medical, my flight medical. See, I have a license back, but they catch you on the medical. So I'd go get my medical and jump through a lot of hoops. Go to the Dawn Center once a month, but the Lord had a lady over there that said, Irvan, if you fly, just call me when you want, come in when you want, we'll take you. Don't worry about it, we'll take care of it. She said, do you want me to do this as a ADSAT thing too? I said, yeah. So, because my license was suspended for 7, I got up in 2009, I didn't get my license back in 2017. So Mom and Dad had to drive me everywhere. I was flying a medical plane out of Mott's Corner, and Mom and Dad, or I would pay a friend of mine, it would take me to the airport back. Now I met a buddy of mine, Mike Heisinger, who was flying, and he was married to a Filipino. That's how I met Rose. That's how I met Rose. They introduced me to their cousin, and she was wishy-washy, but God had Rose in the back corner waiting on me. And so we, by the way, we got married in 2014 in the Philippines. But I started flying again, and when me and Rose, we fell in love, and I said, Mom, I can't go on like this. I can't make, y'all are getting older. Y'all can't take me back and forth to the airport. I'm not going to do this to you for 4 more years. 3 more years, I just not do it. So I'm going to marry Rose, and I'm going to move to the Philippines and retire. So, moved over there. And I didn't say she was going to retire now. I got her little business, started her working. And we had an ice cream stand in the biggest university in Cebu, on the island of Cebu. And I rode motorcycles and swam and kept her supplied. And pretty soon I got tired of doing that. We moved to the Philippines in 2015 after I finished my medical flying. My boss was a jerk, the medical flight thing. He was a piece of work. But moved to the Philippines, set her up an ice cream stand. We made good money ice cream, and I started teaching online after I got tired of sitting around. So I started teaching online, teaching English to Koreans, a lot of Muslims, a lot of Arabians, Saudi Arabians, Koreans, Chinese, Saudi Arabians, and Turkish people, my main students. And we bought a ticket to come back and see Mom and Dad. I really miss my family. We had a Bible ministry over there. We gave Bibles out to the kids at college. It was actually 1 through college, so we had 16,000 students. So Rose would talk to the girls, and we would give out Bibles, and they just floored them, but we'd give it anything. They're just not used to that. And we had 2017 at Christmas. We had Mom and Pop over there. All the girls were, her family was at the house. And that's when I woke up and in the middle of the night, and I said, Rose, we're going to America to stay. I didn't hear a voice. It's like, so one lady, I heard one lady say, he dropped it in my heart. Well, I woke up in the middle of the night knowing. Now, while I was in the Philippines, guess what? I started drinking. I questioned, I reasoned, I backslid. And I'm ashamed of it, but I'll tell you, I backslid because I reasoned, we're over there, and the cheapest beer in the world and the best, San Miguel, people will tell you, is over in the Philippines, cheap, dirt cheap. And what foreigners do is, their wives get together and they call chica chica, and the guys get together and talk English. Because you don't have to speak Visayan or Tagalog or anything like that, because most of them speak a little bit English, so you just get together and talk. Pretty soon, you reason, and this is what gets you in trouble, you reason, George can drink a beer and it don't hurt him. Daddy can drink a beer, it don't hurt him. I can drink a beer. Well, guess what? I'm allergic to beer. I'm allergic to drugs. That's my motto from now on. I don't drink. I'm allergic to it. It don't do nothing. I hurt myself. I hurt others. So after doing that and getting drunk and disappointing my wife, I said, wait. I woke up and said, hey, wait a minute. God didn't save me for this. And boom, I stopped. And that's when, when that was done, it was God. I woke up and said, it's time. We're going back home. Rose, we're going to stay. 2 weeks later, I woke up and said, Rose, this was my Egypt. I mean, it was just plain. I woke up and said, Rose, this has been my Egypt, my sin. We're going home. And we moved back. I got a job flying. We have 12 aircraft, 3 jets, 3 King Airs, 2 Pilatus. So you got a lot of turbine stuff. I got a job with a friend of mine flying those. That's what I do now. We're working on Rose, getting her back, getting her through immigration. But if you look at the Beatitudes, blessed are the poor in spirit. That's what I was. I was so broken. I was poor in spirit. Blessed are they that mourn. I was crying my heart out. I was so sad. Blessed are the meek. Well, you add those two together, you're going to get meek, because you're going to walk around like the whole world was against you. But I was also thirsting after righteousness because I was so wrong. I knew that. Listen, the wreck was just a catalyst that showed me my entire life was wrong. It wasn't the wreck was terrible. The wreck I was crying about. But my whole life, I looked back to find something I'd done good. And I couldn't find one thing that I could say, look, Lord, not one thing. My life had been a disaster. But that's what the Lord gave it to me. He forgot it. The sins that pop up, he'll say, if he wants to, he'll say, I don't know what you're talking about. They under the blood, Irvan. I forgot them. Don't worry about them. Go forward. Anyway. Listen, I've taken up too much time. I love you guys, and I hope you, if you don't know Christ, you come to trust Him as your Lord and Savior. I think it's time for